So I'm traveling from Crowley up 1187 to Mansfield for a family barbecue on July 3rd, when suddenly the car takes a shit and acts like it's about to stall out. So I turn off the main road into a parking lot. The voltage light came on and all the gauges started going crazy. The air conditioning quit blowing, the windows would barely roll up and down, so my immediate assumption is the alternator. I had my 76-year-old grandmother with me, so I called my uncle's house to get someone to pick up Grandma. My cousin arrives, and we load up Grandma in the truck. In hopes it wasn't the alternator, I got my cables out and got a jump from my cousin. I didn't have anything to remove the positive cable from the battery for a quick test, so alas I jumped it off. It ran smooth for a few minutes, so I decided to chance it and attempt to get the car to my uncle's house. I jumped back out on 1187 and made it to the intersection W/157 when it died again. I had to jump out and push that bitch into the right turn lane, then onto 157, down 2 driveways, and into the AutoZone parking lot. Let the fun begin. I go inside, and I'm panting like a bitch in heat, and sweating like one too, so they're all staring at me, like I'm holding the place up. I asked 2 or 3 times to the guys behind the counter who could hook me up with an alternator for my car. One stepped forward, and after the guy going out 3 times to look at my alternator, to figure out which one matched the pictures on the computer, he finally took a pic with his phone, to compare to the photos of alternators on the screen, to match the one I needed. By this point my confidence in their capabilities were overflowing, but I held my tongue. I get the alternator, and borrowed a wrench/socket set from the man proceeded outside. On my way out one guy asked, "You gonna need help with that?" I reply, "I sure as heck wouldn't mind if someone helped," so he replied, "Okay, well let us know if you need help," and he walked off. I shook my head and went outside. I get the first bolt loose and the rain starts falling. I then sat out in the AutoZone parking lot for about an hour in the rain changing the alternator. I get all finished up and everything tightened down real good, when I notice that the belt has a rip about halfway through it. I had to go back inside, at which point I was dripping wet from head to toe to buy a belt. They gave me the wrong one, but I caught it right away, and had them retrieve the correct one. I spent the next half hour, back out in the rain, putting on the new belt. I looked over a few times to the store, to see the clerks inside standing at the window watching. Finally I finished with the belt, and take all the tools back inside. No one said a word to me other than, "Wow, you did that all by yourself." To which I replied, "Yep, no thanks to you guys." How sad is it, that this was the best help a gal could find in a pinch. I could only imagine how bad it is for someone who doesn't know how to turn a wrench. I barely know how to operate one myself, but I would have been doubly fucked if I had to rely on anyone at that store. I was so perplexed by this, that it's all I could think of for the majority of Saturday night. Not to mention I figured out a new way to pinch a nerve with Lee and repetitive discussion LOL.